Hello, good afternoon. I am Yatin Mota and you are watching this Moneycontrol live broadcast closing bell with me. Obviously, when it comes to the Indian stock markets, it's a week to cheer because we are closing at record levels. Today, the markets saw some bit of consolidation after yesterday's bumper move. Obviously, the global cues were slightly weaker. We had some profit taking coming in at Dow Jones, in Nikkei, and a whole host of these Asian markets as well as European markets. Probably the sentiments were slightly flattish for our markets. For a brief period in trade today, the Nifty tried to breach that 23,000 mark. However, we had to settle close to that 22,950 mark, nearly close to the yesterday's close. When it comes to the Sensex, we were almost flat at 75,410. Nifty Bank, however, moved 0.5%, gained nearly 200 points. The mid cap and small cap activity was slightly muted in trade today. Obviously, after yesterday's move, more of the profit taking scenario usually takes up most of the headspace in the trading desk. When it comes to the advance decline ratio, we were almost 2:3, meaning 2 advances for every 3 declines on the National Stock Exchange. And when it comes to the sectoral performance, we had banking stocks, financial services, media stocks doing well. However, FMCG, real estate and IT stocks saw cuts of nearly 0.5% to 1%. When it comes to the FI activity, yesterday FIs had bought nearly 4,670 crores of Indian equities provisionally, and we hope today also the figure should be on the positive side, given the fact that we have seen some bit of short covering in the Indian stock markets. Talking about the Nifty 50, like yesterday, today HDFC Bank again contributed smartly to Nifty Bank and Index, which is Nifty. HDFC Bank ended the day higher by nearly 1.5%. L&T, Bharti Airtel, BPCL, Axis Bank were the other gainers on the Nifty. When it comes to the losers, Adani Ports, Tata Consumer, ITC, Titan were the other stocks wherein we saw some bit of profit taking, not a big profit taking, but yes, 0.5%, 1% kind of profit taking in most of these names. When it comes to stocks like Bharti Airtel, Eicher Motors, Divi's Laboratories, Adani Enterprises, all of these stocks have hit fresh 52-week highs, and clearly we have seen some bit of momentum here. What did well in the market today from the mid-cap end of the market? We had Aegis Chemicals surge nearly 15% intraday after announcing a new capital expenditure for ammonia storage unit. Phenolics Cable, after good set of numbers, moved 12%. Inox Wind, we have battery stocks like Exide, Amara Raja and BDL moving 8 to 10% in trade. What did not do well is multinational companies like Bayer Crop as well as Schneider. Both of these stocks were down 5% each. Weibo Global as well as HBL Power were the other stocks wherein we saw some bit of profit taking. Today on our show closing bell, we have to understand some technicals and trade setup. Today we have Kush Bohra joining us from Mumbai. Kush, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. When it comes to the Indian stock markets, all-time high, a very strong close for the markets this week. What's your overall sense for Nifty and Bank Nifty in terms of levels from here on?
Hi, first of all, very good afternoon to you and all the viewers. Well, a strong close indeed, and one would not have expected this kind of move that we saw yesterday. Perhaps closer to the election result date, one would have anticipated, but this is a pleasant surprise, and markets always tend to be 2 steps ahead of you, right? I will take this though gladly. Now what we're seeing is the 22,800, which was a key resistance zone, and the previous high for a brief while will start acting as a support. Even the 23,000 put option for the next week expiry is seeing some traction, which means that the market wants to move higher from here. Perhaps there could be some consolidation around the 23,000 mark, give or take 100 points. So that's what you could see on the Nifty, going forward for at least another week. The Bank Nifty, however, is a very different play. Had a lot of catching up to do. There was an opportunity to get into it, at much lower levels. The spike that we saw yesterday and the follow through that we saw today is very heartening. I think 49,500, 50,000, are the next, serious numbers to watch for on Bank Nifty. So if I was taking a long trade from, let's say, a momentum perspective, I think Bank Nifty is the one to play with.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Kush, any of the stocks that you like, especially in the large cap funds or the liquid names in the future and option space, from the banking side, or probably stocks like Reliance, HDFC Bank, or a Bharti Airtel which has done well. Overall, what are the stocks probably you are looking at this point in time? Any PSUs also that you like?
Well, one of them we've already mentioned. Incidentally, Bharti Airtel was a recommendation, in our advisory service this morning. We may need to start looking at the markets beyond 4th June as well, as I've been maintaining consistently. While that is a significant event, the probability of a surprise is very low, and the event seems to be done and dusted now. Plus, we will start to need to make a portfolio beyond that as well. Bharti Airtel fits that bill perfectly. The stock has been doing very well for the last 12 to 18 months. Any kind of dip towards the 20-day moving average has been bought into. 1400 might prove to be a minor resistance, but beyond that, 1440 is the immediate level to watch for. There is a good support zone coming in at 1370, 1375 levels. So that's one stock from the large cap names that we've been recommending to our clients. The other one to look out for is KPIT Tech. Now, this is a slightly different kind of tech company, but on the whole, if you see, this has been successful in bucking the trend, at least for the most part, as compared to the other IT names. The revival here has been strong. So, if someone wants to have a momentum play in the IT space, then 1600, 1640 are the levels to look for. 1630 is a good support zone. So, KPIT Tech from the mid-cap space is something that we've put on our radar.
Okay, so these are the stocks to watch out for, Bharti Airtel as well as KPIT Technologies. These are the two stocks we'll watch out for. But today was the day of telecom stocks, Bharti Airtel hitting fresh 52-week highs, and so were the case with Vodafone Idea, which surged nearly 14% in intraday trade, ended the day high by nearly 10% after UBS has upgraded and increased target price on telecom stocks. Now, if you look at stocks like Vodafone Idea, we have UBS, which has upgraded the stock to a buy with a target of 18%, and Bharti Airtel as well as Indus Tower. These are the two stocks wherein the target has been increased significantly from the current market price. Now, UBS does believe that the AGR dues will probably get reappropriated, and if that happens, telecom companies like Bharti Airtel as well as Vodafone Idea will benefit. But the key reason why we have UBS, which is liking telecom stocks, the likes of Vodafone Idea as well as Bharti Airtel, is tariff hike. Now, your mobile bills are likely to get dearer or expensive by nearly 20-25% in the next 12 months of this financial year, and this tariff hike would mean that Vodafone Idea as well as Bharti would be able to increase their profitability. So, because of the tariff hike, probable appropriation of the AGR dues would be something that brokerages will be watching out for the near term. Also, UBS believes that there is the government willingness to get a third player or a three-player market which is quite strong to support digital India as well as telecommunication services in India, and probably that is one factor why they expect significant upside in the shares of Vodafone Idea. In fact, in the best case, Vodafone Idea shares could surge as much as 70 to 80% according to the UBS report which got released earlier in the day. Clearly, Vodafone Idea is one stock which has seen huge volumes despite the fact that the anchor lock-in opened today. Remember, Vodafone Idea raised nearly 5,500 crores from anchor investors out of the total 18,000 crore FPO, and names like GQG, Aditya Birla, mutual fund, Motilal Oswal mutual fund, UBS, a lot of these foreign institutional investors had invested in the anchor book as well as in the IPO or the FPO. Telecom stocks on a tear. Bharti Airtel ended the day higher by 1.5-2%. Vodafone Idea, as I was mentioning, ended the day higher by nearly 10%. But let's keep it with momentum and momentum stocks. Kush, I just wanted to understand, the banking sector as well as HDFC Bank as well as SBI. Both of these stocks have been, doing well in the last two trading sessions with major support coming in from all of these stocks for the Nifty Bank as well. From here on, what are the trading levels that you will be watching out for next week in the case of HDFC Bank and SBI?
Well, very interesting moves on both of them. While we're seeing a recovery underway on HDFC Bank, and the stocks being able to successfully close above the 20 and the 200-day moving average, for at least a weekly average. 200-day moving average for the stock comes in at 1530. So that will be the immediate resistance zone. But I think the kind of volume uptick that we have seen, plus the kind of short covering that's now playing out, there is a good possibility that from a near-term perspective, 1550 is a very realistic number, and beyond that, you're looking at a 1580 as well. So HDFC Bank, might gain momentum just as it crosses the 200 moving average, which I said is around 1530. Now, as far as SBI goes, very interesting setup here. What we are seeing here is something called an ascending triangle formation, where 1835 is acting as a strong resistance zone, but gradually over the last 8 to 10 sessions, the lows have actually started to move up. The lower levels have started to move up, suggesting that a close above 1835 would actually catapult the stock even to let's say 1865, 1870 kind of zones rather fast. So HDFC Bank yet to gain momentum, slightly preemptive, but above 1835 would gain momentum.
As well as HDFC Bank, the levels to watch out for, especially SBI, which according to Kush is trying to do a ascending triangle formation. Post that, the stock could see momentum. When it comes to stocks like PFC, REC, Kush, we have seen strong momentum post the results and the analyst meet. Stocks have appreciated. They have almost been 2x, 3x in the very short term. Any views on REC, PFC, or any other PSU stocks that you like?
Well, we like PFC, RFC both, REC both rather. There was a brief phase when the stock had corrected sharply, but the confidence didn't really shake because the higher they go, the harder they fall, right? So there was a sharp up move on both of these names, and then about the profit booking came about. Both these stocks, in fact, PFC specifically rebounded from its 20-day moving average. The cut on the REC wasn't even deep enough to drag it to its 20-day moving average. So on the whole, there is some traction to both of them. PFC has closed above that resistance zone of 480. So I think from here on you could see some move. However, the 500 level, which is a psychological pressure, plus you do see some sort of call rating around these numbers. So that too might start acting up. So at least from a 500 target, from a near-term perspective, a trading bet, someone would want to have it in their position, or if they do have a position, might want to perhaps book out a little around those 500 levels. REC yet to catch up, with the recent highs that it made around the 565 mark. Beyond that, it could stretch to 580 as well. So if you haven't really got into one, I think REC has a more clear run compared to PFC. So that's the one that you want to get into. However, we are constructive on both of them.
Okay, both the stocks look good, and these have given strong returns to investors in the past few months. Kush, one final stock query on Interglobe Aviation. Post the results, the stock opened with a gap up of nearly 2.5%, but ended the day lower by 3.5%. Stock was at a 52-week high, but if you look at the returns, almost 88% returns in the last 12 months. Would you like to buy this stock on the dip, or do you see further momentum breakdown and lower levels for the stock?
Just incidentally, I was discussing this stock on air, in the morning when the results came out and the stock opened. And my view was that, the stock is in a bullish trend, but wait for a new entry, and the entry price was 4,200 to 4,250. Very heartening to see that the closing has been very close to that level. What I would still suggest is give it a day, give it up until say Monday to see whether this downfall is complete, because the stock actually closed near the low point of the day. So if this pressure were to continue, then the stock could perhaps slip to those 4,200 levels, maybe just below that as well. But I think any kind of rebound that you see from there should be taken as a buying opportunity. Overall, the view for Interglobe Aviation is bullish, but there were a few brokerage upgrades, and there were a few experts who were recommending this stock over the last 10-15 days, and the stock had moved quite a bit. So profit booking round was imminent. So for me, the texture is very much buy on dip. If it breaks 4,100 is when perhaps I'll be a little cautious. But up until then, for me, this is a buy on dips kind of a setup.
Absolutely, Kush, and thank you so much for joining us on Moneycontrol with your views and technical ideas. We look forward to seeing you more often on Moneycontrol's platforms. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Closing Bell. You have a happy weekend, and we'll see you on Monday with the opening bell at 9 o'clock. Stay tuned to Moneycontrol.